Hello everyone, this is Pip Coleman coming in to do the Find Your Soul show. And hopefully you can hear me this time because I did the whole show at 9 o'clock and then it didn't post. So I don't know what was going on with my video. But anyway, hopefully this is working this time. So please pop your comments below and let me know that you're there. Say hey. And we're going to talk today about soul forgiveness in terms of past lives. So yay, I see someone's watching. That means that we must be live. That's exciting. So I have a couple of little special things to do today. I'm going to talk about past lives in terms of soul contracts, and I'm going to talk about past lives in terms of people that you might be connected to, that you are connected to in your soul group. And we're going to talk about the whole concept of healing the past and therefore healing the present. So in terms of soul healing, and we're going to talk about what I call the soul healing prayer, which is, you might know it as the Ho'oponopono prayer, which is a Hawaiian beautiful healing prayer that you can do to heal lots of different things. So I'm doing some forgiveness work at the moment in my money mindset course that I'm doing with Denise Studfield Thomas, and we're healing our money stuff, our money memories with our that prayer, that Ho'oponopono prayer, and it's really amazing. So we're writing down the memories that we have from the past about money, and then we're saying the prayer of I love you, thank you, I'm sorry, I forgive you, and we're crossing out the memories that are blocking us in terms of our money mindset. And you can do exactly the same thing. It's pretty cool. You can do exactly the same thing with your past life memories. So if you have a negative, something that's coming up with your relationships, something that's coming up with your job, something that's coming up in your life in general that keeps on recurring and you can't seem to work it out, if it doesn't seem to fit with this lifetime, if it's a fear or phobia, you might need to do some work on your past lives. And I have a past life course that you can do as well, which we can talk about if you're keen to dive into your past lives, do some past life regressions and some coaching around that. Talk to me. 5 weeks of beautiful past life regressions and deep work. We can definitely do that. If you're interested, get in touch. We will be talking today about past lives, though, in terms of the things that come up in terms of our memories and the things that come up in terms of our stuff, the stuff that kind of just sticks around. Like one of my things is feeling responsible. It's a thing that comes up again and again. It's the reason why I was, the first child, the oldest child in my family. It's a responsibility loop that comes up, and it can make me quite anxious and stressed if I think that I'm responsible for everybody. Everyone, every client, every person in my family, every parent, every friend. If I feel like I get very overwhelmed because I feel like I'm responsible, and it's like one of those things that has come through as a past life thing. It's something that I'm still needing to learn that lesson, obviously. I'm still needing to learn that lesson of I am only responsible for me and not for every other person in my life. And so that is something that if you have a thing, if you have a belief or something that's really sticky, that it seems to kind of hang around and it keeps popping its head up all the time in your relationships, with your money, with your jobs, then maybe that's something that's from a past life that you need to address. So the wonderful Dr. Brian Weiss wrote the book Many Lives, Many Masters. This is one of my first books that I read about past lives, and I love his perspective because he was a skeptic. He was a psychiatrist who was doing regression therapy, but he hadn't gone into that past life space until he met Catherine, who's the subject of this book. And he talks about how he didn't expect this to happen, and he asked her to go back to the first time that she ever felt the issue that she was having, and she went into a past life space and she started sharing, and she also shared some stuff about the in-between as well. What happens when you die? What happens before you come back to your next life in that in-between, in the soul realm, soul plane? Very interesting, cool book, and I love his work. I love his perspective, because he is coming from that skeptic's perspective. So if you are someone who isn't quite sure, if you don't know if it's really true, then that's a really great place to start. But if you feel you resonate with the information, then it's worth diving into. It's worth investigating. So that was one of my first books, and I love Brian Weiss. He also has a book about same soul, many bodies, which is the one where he talks about progression, and he moves into that space of, discovering the healing power of going forward in future lives, because time is not linear. That whole concept of today, tomorrow, the next day, that linear time, past, present, future, is not actually how time works. It's actually a spiral. It's a really interesting concept. It's a physics concept. It's a quantum physics concept. So if you are curious about having a conversation about time, about how past lives work, about the fact that we can see, even the concept of ghosts, for example, is really cool, because it is if you think of time in a spiral and that everything is happening at the same time, then a ghost is actually us seeing through a thin veil of time to them living in their time at the same time as us. And it's not about, people coming back in that way. It's a fascinating concept, something that's definitely worth having a conversation about if you're curious about past lives. The other book that I read when I very, very first started getting into past lives was Discovering Your Past Lives by Glenn Williston and Judith Johnson. Really cool book. It helped me through when my grandmother was passing, and I really felt like I needed some clarifying and peace-giving information. That book actually helped me to feel so peaceful about the fact that we go on, and that I was going to see my grandmother again, and that she was here for a reason in our family, that we all have these beautiful soul connections, that our soul mates are part of our soul family, and that if it's not your actual family of origin that you're connected to, then it might be that your friends or your extended networks, people that you meet at work, might actually be soulmates, and that's your soul family. So we do come in to learn lessons though, and it's important to know that sometimes people trigger us because we're supposed to learn that lesson. Like, for example, my lesson of responsibility is all about, and my family does that. They do that for me. My family and my friends and the people in my space will come in energetically. They'll be drawn to me because they need to learn the lesson of taking care of themselves, and I need to learn the lesson of being responsible for me and not for them. So we all have our lessons to learn, which is awesome. So, and the other book that I want to show you is The Only Love Is Real book, which is Brian Weiss's book about soulmates reunited, and how we all have soulmates, not necessarily partnership, love relationships, intimate relationships, but just in general, there are soulmates that we come in with and we learn from every time. Same people, that's why we have that recognition when you see someone and you have that heart and soul connection. Those are the people who are your soulmates. This one's a really cool book though, because it's about two patients of his that he realizes have the same have been in a past life before, and they share the story from two different perspectives, and he realizes that, oh my God, these two people have been in a life before, and he has to work out whether he's going to introduce them in this lifetime, which is pretty cool. So I love that. And I love that concept of healing the past, not just our past in terms of our childhood and this lifetime, but I love the idea that, you know, there are spaces in our lives that can be healed, that might be unconscious or perhaps just on the edge of our consciousness, that can sort of fix things now when we go back and look at those. That's what timeline therapy does, and you know, NLP, and there's some amazing therapies that work on that level. So one of the things that I wanted to do today was to pull a card for each person, a past life card. So each person who is watching this video, I'm going to pull a card for you, and if you pop a comment in the underneath, I'll know that you're watching, and then I can put your card, I can take a photo and put that card in for you to get a little bit of perspective on what past lives you might have had, or a past life that you might have had. So pop your card, pop your name, say hello, that you'd like a card, and I will draw a card for you and pop the picture in there for you. So these are gorgeous cards. They have you know, beautiful pictures on them, like this one, the gorgeous Celtic card. That's one of my past lives is definitely a Celtic. Probably a couple, actually. I have a feeling that there's quite a lot of healing that needs to happen from that Celtic past. Like you know, I definitely have a connection to the beautiful energy of the Avalon, you know, the Mists of Avalon. I have definite connection to that. So, Kerry Addison, I thought you might like to have a card today, my friend. And this is yours, the gorgeous Asia. So, Kerry, you have a past life connection in Asia. And that is a beautiful Buddha. Now, you might know better than me, that actually looks like it might be Cambodia or Thailand, maybe. So if you have a connection to those spaces, you might want to check that out, because one of the things that's really amazing is also the colour of that sarong there, or that sash that Buddha has on there, is all about the solar plexus. It's all about the stomach. It's all about confidence. And that kind of concept of being in your power and not letting other people sway you, like staying true to yourself, always staying true to yourself, and trying not to get too caught up in that feeling of people pleasing and doing things for other people rather than focusing on yourself. That's what that yellow sash is all about. So this might be, usually when these cards jump out, it's about something that's from life after life after life. This has been your thing that you're learning, your personal development, your growth, and one of those lifetimes was in Asia. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? I love it. I'll write these down so that I can post the picture for you. Kerry, Asia. Beautiful. So, hope that resonates with you. Oh, they usually do. Oh my God's throwing them around. And the other thing, yeah, that is interesting, isn't it, Kerry? It's cool. The other thing that I wanted to mention too is, as I mentioned at the beginning, is the course, the past life course that I do. It's a coaching program. It's 5 weeks or 5 fortnights, whatever, 5 sessions, and you get to go through 5 different meditations, 5 different past life regressions, and then you have 5 coaching sessions with me to dive deeper into what those meditations might mean, what the memories are, and to heal and soothe those memories using all of the tools and skills that I have, including the emotional freedom technique, the tapping, the Reiki, the that beautiful forgiveness prayer that I was talking about then, the Ho'oponopono. Really important to heal and forgive it, because once you actually realize that you do have that connection to a past life, it's important that you heal and seal and cut any cords of fear, you know, same as you would if you found something that was blocking you from this lifetime. You know, that's important. So if you're interested in trying checking that out, I'm going to put the link to the past life course, the coaching program, into the comments, as well as the cards. So if you comment on underneath this video, you'll actually get a past life regression card for you about a past life that you've had, and I'll also pop the details of the books as well that I've just held up, so that you can check out and do some more reading. And obviously that whole conversation about past lives is really important in terms of forgiveness, and that's because that's what our topic is for the month. It's all about forgiveness. And so taking note of that, taking note of the things that you need to forgive, that you need to let go of, will help you to move forward in your life. It's really important. So that's all I needed to say, really. It took a little bit longer for me to say it when I was doing it at 9 o'clock, because I was like, la, 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 ramble. But short and sweet, my friends. Hope you got something out of this little short session today. If you have any questions, if you're interested in the past life course, if you're interested in having a card reading, please let me know. And as I say, I will pop a card below for each person that comments. And then if you have any questions or you'd like to discuss doing the past life course, I'll pop the link to that in the comments as well. Yay! So I look forward to talking to you very soon. Next week, we're going to start a whole new month and a whole new topic, which is write your story. We're going to write your story, and that might be actually writing, or it might just be about you getting back on your path and being authentically who you are. And that means that you might need some coaching around that as well. So if you would like to talk about the Divine Alignment Coaching Program, get in touch with me and we can get started on that before the end of the year, so that you can be getting in your groove and knowing and trusting and feeling more confident, feeling more peaceful as we move into 2022. So I'd love to help you with that. Good to see you all. Thanks, Kerry. Thanks, Lisa. Thank you, Margaret and Simone. Lovely to see you all, and anyone else who joins me. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for joining me on the Find Your Soul show, and I'll take care and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.